Hello, everyone. Let me know if you see me. Just checking in here. It says I am live. Let me just see. Yes. Awesome. It says I am live now in the Fierce Woman community. This is live number 137, I think. I can't keep track anymore, but it is live on understanding your cravings and why you have them. And I wanted to wear some bright colors because, sugar, candy, all the treats are all super fun. So we're going to have lots of fun on this live. Okay, let me see. I see 12 eyeballs popped in here. And let me just see if I can. Oh, it's a pinky kind of color, but it might look red. It might look red from your screen. It's a fuchsia color. Let me just see. Going live on Cravings. Just gonna tag everyone. And yes, and if any of the angels you guys wanted to help tag or put an announcement in the group, I find it helps people to find me. Yes, hi Jennifer, good to see you. Hi Laura, I see popping in. Donna, awesome. Okay, we're going to hope this works. I've realized my laptop was disconnected and it says it's low battery but charging. So I'm not sure if it might go out on battery. So if it does and I cut out everyone, don't worry. I will pop back in like a few minutes with my phone. And we'll do our best, but it says it's charging right now. So we are going to go with what it says. Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you. Hi, Geraldine, Pam, Joanne. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to dive into this live. We are going to talk about 4 areas, like I mentioned on my post yesterday. Why you get cravings for fun foods, why people's sugar addiction increases throughout the holidays, the impact of post-holiday cravings, and what is the healthy psychology behind cravings. So before I dive into it, how many of you guys have cravings or you feel like you struggle with cravings? If you struggle with cravings, I want you to put struggle with cravings below and to just normalize it. I love participation. It makes it more fun. And it helps me to know if any one of you have ever done lives online that you're talking to yourself. Right? That's why I like participation. So if you want to jump in, put some things there, it really helps so that I know you're with me. How many of you guys struggle with cravings? And if you crave things, what do you tend to crave? What do you tend to crave? And Clarice put yesterday, I like chocolate. Only certain times though, it's true, not all the time, only certain times do I crave it. But I like really good mint chocolate. I don't know why, but I like mint chocolate. So I see Jennifer sometimes struggle with cravings. Yes, you do. Sometimes, not all the time though. You overall pretty good. Struggle with cravings, Geraldine. Pam, cravings, but getting better since fueling my body with better choices. Exactly, Pam. And we're going to talk about that because it really helps when your choices are much better. And Sandy says sugar, sweets. Okay, we're going to talk about all of that today. Ravsan, that's a great name. I really like it. Hi, Janet. Thanks for popping in. And Geraldine says chocolate. Awesome. All right. So before, as you guys come in with those comments, just if you're popping in here, you found me. This is the Fierce Woman community where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. And if you're watching from YouTube, yes, this live is for you too. If you're a guy, I've been asked this because they said, are your lives just for women? I said, no, not all the time, unless it's on menopause. Obviously, menopause would be for women. But lives like this definitely applies to like everyone, like overall the population, everyone, struggles with treats and kind of like struggling with eating healthy. So a lot of these lives can apply to guys. So if you're a guy watching this, great job. Keep watching. Okay. So first of all, I want to say congratulations to all the anti-bloat challenge participants right now. I know there's a lot of you doing it right now, and I'm seeing lots of really great meals. I see your salmon detox salad from today. A lot of you guys liked my meal yesterday, the turkey one. So I'm glad if you enjoyed my meals, give me some hearts, put like love your meals. I like to know, is it helpful? Do you guys enjoy the challenge? And if you missed our anti-bloat challenge, put next challenge below so you don't miss our next challenge coming down the line. Okay, if you want to do our next challenge, free challenge, put next challenge below. Okay, awesome, great job, ladies. Exactly. Jenna says she loves it. Good. Kirsten says, have you even made my own peppermint? You made your own peppermint extract, Kirsten. Awesome. I think men go through a form of menopause. Yes, they go through andropause. Yes, they do. You're right. It's just I get asked a lot because I speak in this community mainly, and there's a lot of guys that follow me, but they never get access to these lives, so they're often not sure should they be watching these lives or not now. And that's one of the reasons I put it onto YouTube, because they cannot access my lives here, but a lot of the concepts of what I teach is very similar. So, and this live particularly, yes, it applies to a lot of men too, who eat really fun things over the holiday as well, or struggle with a belly. A lot of men, older men, struggle with a belly, believe it or not. So this applies to them as well. In terms of wins, we have a couple great wins. I want to say congratulations to Heidi Gomez Monches. She already pre-registered for the next FFF program in January, which is our group coaching program. So give her lots of hearts. She is in her second win of life, like she said. She, like I guess she has a lot of kids and I'm so amazed at her, but now she's kind of at a point in her life where she can actually prioritize herself, and so she's super hungry to learn to better herself, and so she is excited to want to join the next FFF program. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you for cheering her on. And then also give a huge shout out to Melanie Garcia, who just joined the transformation program yesterday. And, because it's a custom-based program, she's starting today. I was looking at her app and she has her food pictures and things in there right now. So Melanie, congratulations. It was not easy for her to do this. I do know we were looking for lots of solutions to figure out for her, but we made it work. And what I'm so proud of Melanie is that she has struggled with her weight for 19 years. And I really appreciate her honesty. Obviously gone through a lot of trying to figure out, and she realized one thing is that she went to the gym, she hired a trainer, but they never helped her with nutrition. And she knew that at the end of the day, like, she could work out all she wants, but you come home and you eat the wrong stuff, you're not going to lose that weight. And so it's just, I'm proud of her because she's honest, and this was not easy for her to do. And she still managed to figure out a way to do the transformation program. So Melanie, I'm super proud of you and excited for your transformation ahead. Awesome. So thank you for cheering all the ladies on, Jennifer and Sherry. Awesome. So, okay. So in terms of like all of this, so we are closing down our Fierce Woman community, like not closing down, but like for the holidays in 2 weeks time, right? Those of you who've been in our community know we kind of end off around December 15th. So we have about 2 weeks time left in this community. And if you followed us, you know that we've announced that Mission 100 to want to impact 100 women's lives through coaching. And we were at 91 lives last week. We are now at 93, because we have helped a couple more, and we are looking for 7 more lives to help before the end of the year. So there's about 2 weeks left, and we're going to push really hard. So if you want to be a part of the last 7, I call you guys the Fierce 7, put 7 below. Okay. Put Fierce 7 or 7 below. Okay. And we, have 2 weeks to make this happen. And I'm super excited to see who is our last 7 that we can help to close off 2023. Last year, we actually did, I believe, 109. So we actually exceeded our record and our impact that we wanted to do. So if you want to be part of the last 7, put 7 below, okay? Awesome. So all 22 eyeballs, we're going to dive into the cravings. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about what are cravings. So cravings are intense, uncontrollable desires for specific foods or substances. Okay. It's either related to a particular taste, a particular texture, or even a psychological need. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about why do people get cravings. Okay. So cravings can be influenced by a lot of different factors. They can be influenced by biological, or sometimes I say physiological, so like biological physical factors, okay? They can be influenced by psychological factors, or they can be influenced by social factors, okay? Hi, Oshone. Oshone just popped in here. Did you guys like that other teaser we put out? There was a big donut on there. Guess who chose the donut? Oshone put that donut on that teaser. That was awesome. So yeah, so there's three elements that you can be influencing your cravings. So let's talk first about biological or physical factors, okay? What physical factors or biological factors can influence your cravings? So we're gonna talk about a few things in this category. The first thing is gonna be hormonal fluctuations. Then we're gonna talk about imbalances in neurotransmitters. And number 3 is nutrient deficiencies, okay? So there's reasons why you have cravings, and is to understand where they come from, okay? So the first thing is to look at hormonal imbalances. So there's a number of hormones that is going to be connected to why you have cravings. The first would be insulin and blood sugar levels, okay? So as you guys know, I talk a lot about insulin. So insulin is the hormone that helps your body uptake sugar into its cells. You need it because you can't have sugar floating around for too long. Your body has to figure out where to partition it. And insulin is the hormone that helps you uptake sugar, okay? Now, when you consume high levels of carbs and things like that, you will lead to a rapid increase in blood sugar, right? And which will cause insulin response to go up. Insulin response goes up, and then insulin opens the gates of the cells if you have proper insulin response. Sugar will go into your cells. And if you have a big spike, right, which some of you with holiday eating and different things like that will get a big insulin spike as well, which could mean that your body is going to shuttle sugar faster into your cells because it's trying to respond, which could lead to what's called blood sugar fluctuations. Your blood sugar fluctuations going up and down really fast, like boom and down, can lead to cravings. And this is because if you go really high, then really low all of a sudden, guess what happens? Your body's like, I need more sugar. Like, what's going on? You know, like the blood sugar drops because of the high level of insulin response to that. So this is kind of why I have a saying that says sugar begets sugar. Okay. If you're eating sugar or lots of sugar, or you're kind of addicted to sugar, you will want more sugar. So being very careful about that, because this is connected to a holiday season. You have sugar everywhere. And this is why we got to be very cognizant of how much we're eating of your treats and your sugars, because what you will cause an imbalance in your insulin and your blood sugar levels, okay? So that's the first thing. That's one of the hormones. If you have an imbalance in that, or even if your insulin starts to malfunction, is not functioning well, or you have insulin resistance, those things can all affect your potential cravings, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, hi, Sylvia. Hi, Angelina. Hi, Yvonne. Good to see you. And Elizabeth. Leptin and ghrelin. So leptin and ghrelin are your appetite hormones. I speak about this a lot. Ghrelin, grr, is your hunger hormone, like grr, I'm hungry. And leptin is the fullness hormone, okay? So imbalances of these types of hormones, your hunger signals, will contribute to your craving signals, okay? If you're imbalanced in ghrelin or leptin, it will impact like, oh, I'm so hungry for more, or I need more of this, or your leptin malfunctions and doesn't respond well. So you don't have a fullness signal. So you keep eating and you could potentially overeat. Okay. So you're probably asking me, well, how does leptin and ghrelin actually, like, how do you imbalance it? Lots and lots of things. I've spoken a lot about that. So I'll give you a few examples. If you lack sleep or you have poor sleep quality, that will actually affect your ghrelin leptin. If you have too much body fat on your body, it could potentially connect to leptin resistance. Now, there's more complicated than that, but leptin resistance means you don't respond to leptin anymore, and now this can cause to potential overeating. Okay, so there could be those things, and this is not surprising for all of you. You could imbalance your ghrelin and leptin from inflammation. Okay, Inflammation, I speak a lot about this. Those of you in the 21-day anti-inflammation system, congratulations. You're ahead of the game, because by the time you complete it this week, you know so much about inflammation that you probably will go into the holiday season very, very strong, right? I 100% am so glad those of you who did the anti-inflammation course, because it really helps you, because inflammation, if it's too high in your system, will interfere with your leptin function. It causes, again, leptin to malfunction, which means that your system actually wants more food and craves more food when it really, you may not need it, which can lead to overeating, weight gain, belly fat gain, all of that because of the inflammation in your system. So inflammation is also really important. Another thing that can imbalance ghrelin and leptin is insulin imbalance, like I said above. As well as stress. And stress, I'll talk a little bit more in a bit, but cortisol, when cortisol is super high, it will cause you to want more food. So again, cravings from a hormonal perspective is if these things are in balance, you are going to have more cravings, okay? So let me ask you before I dive into the next hormone, how many of you believe that maybe your leptin ghrelin is a bit imbalanced, and why? So do you feel like your leptin ghrelin is imbalanced because you lack sleep, because your sleep patterns are horrible, you have too much fat on your body, you feel like you struggle with inflammation, maybe you have too much stress? What do you think, those of you who are listening, do you potentially struggle with any one of those things that could imbalance your leptin and ghrelin? So put below, is it not enough sleep, too much body fat, inflammation, stress, too much stress? Maybe identify it for yourself, okay? So that's the second hormone. Third hormone is estrogen and progesterone. So, Marilyn says, yes, lack of sleep and inflammation. Yeah. And Marilyn, yes. Now, Marilyn's in my transformation program, just starting. And I know we've talked a little bit about her food, just tiny bits, parts of her food. And yes, but we're dealing with your inflammation, Marilyn. So it's going to help a lot. And then obviously we got to work on that sleep. But yes, with your food, it's going to improve, Marilyn. Yvonne says lack of sleep and stress, right? And Sandy says stress. Pam says stress, not enough sleep. Prior you had huge stress. Yes. Okay. And lack of sleep, Janet. And Sherry says imbalance from poor sleep, quality, inflammation, body fat, working on all of it. Yes, you are, Sherry, which is great. Yes, you definitely are. And your results are looking good. So Leslie Ann says stress, inflammation, and body fat. Right. So identifying these things for yourself is really crucial to understanding maybe where your cravings come from. We're going to talk about the number 3 hormone, which is estrogen and progesterone, okay? So estrogen, progesterone is the woman hormone, and it fluctuates obviously during your menopause, during your menstrual cycle, okay? It fluctuates during menopause too, okay? So they're all connected. But changes in estrogen and progesterone levels can influence your neurotransmitters because they're connected. So one of the neurotransmitters that it impacts is serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that affects mood. So sometimes when you get moodier around your cycle or menopause, you guys may often have maybe feelings of like sadness, low energy, and coming down, that kind of feeling of lowness often may be connected to that fluctuating hormone, right? So because of this situation, this is why a lot of times around our cycle, we're all women here, I've experienced it, but you're just aware of it, right? So you know how to handle it better because you will crave carbs more. Anyone crave carbs more around their cycle? They want more sugary things or more, fatty things. Or even in menopause, your neurotransmitters for serotonin might start to drop because of your estrogen, progesterone dropping. You may look for more carbs or things like that, right? So does anyone look for more carbs around their cycle or kind of have experienced that impact of that changing hormone? So with that, just knowing that is really important because yes, you probably will experience more carbs, wanting more carbs during this time. So then just understanding like how to eat during this time, understanding the right types of foods to eat. This is why for all my clients, and I talk about this, like, knowing your food choices is so crucial, because like you can't really stop your hormones. Your hormones are going to be there, but when you understand your body, then you know what to eat or what are healthier carb choices. Or all my private clients for 21-day group, you know how you guys always ask, is this approved? Is this approved? Is like looking for choices that can actually still help you have the carbs that your body needs, but in a healthier way, right? Because your hormones are dictating what's going on right now. So Jennifer says, I used to crave chips and salsa every month. Yeah, exactly. Definitely more carbs and chocolate. Yeah. And Kat, me too. I would say like right around my cycle, I could tell the signals right away. I'll think about chocolate all of a sudden. It's like, why? Like, or carbs, right? But then you just get to understand your body's like having different fluctuations of hormones. And hopefully this is helping all of you understand yourself a little bit better. So those are the three main types of hormones. I'm going to talk about neurotransmitters, but neurotransmitters interact with hormones. So remember this, because this is quite complex. So we're going to jump into neurotransmitters. So we're going to jump back to serotonin. Serotonin is that neurotransmitter that contributes to mood regulation, right? So if for any reason your serotonin affected by various reasons, maybe the hormone I talked about above, or for other reasons, really like crazy stressful events and all this type of stuff, if your serotonin is affected and you're feeling down or depressed or sad, or life events happened, you lost a loved one, I know a lot of my clients have gone through very sad things in their life. And when you are sad and serotonin is low, that is when you want those comfort foods, right? That is high in carbs. So high carbs will help you boost your serotonin. So again, understanding, okay, when there's high, like when you're sad, why do you tend to want carbs? This is the scientific explanation of it. Okay. What was that? You made me do more burpees when we worked out together. Oh, you're talking to Kat. Good job, Kat. I love those burpees. Yes, absolutely. So number two, neurotransmitter is dopamine. So number two transmitter is dopamine. So dopamine is associated with pleasure and reward. So cravings for certain foods that may, give you that pleasure, that's very like tasty and highly palatable, will release more dopamine in your system. So again, high calorie foods, very tasty foods, high sugar, those things will release dopamine in your system. And that's why you may crave it, because you're low in serotonin or low in dopamine. Another third neurotransmitter that's very important is endorphins. And you guys might have heard of endorphins. They are also mood enhancers. They are also painkillers, when endorphins are going through your system, like when you exercise, you actually don't feel the pain as much typically. So if you are, sometimes people get injured, or again, they're sad, or they're going through some traumatic events. Why, again, you're going to want those rich, really like sugar, fat, or maybe even spicy food, is because your body is looking for those neurotransmitters to be transmitted, and it wants more endorphins in its system. Okay. So it's to understand, like, of course, this is kind of me giving you a scientific background around why you may have these cravings is hormonal or neurotransmitter related. Okay. Now, I want to talk a bit about cortisol, because cortisol is a hormone, and cortisol is the stress hormone that I talk a lot about, which affects both insulin and other neurotransmitter. It's a complex pathway. So this is why I speak a lot about cortisol, because if cortisol is present in your body, like high stress hormones, it will cause your body to immediately want more high sugar, more high fat foods, because it's needing energy in its system. And then it affects insulin. It actually, will cause you to release more insulin, but too much cortisol will block the insulin response, and because it wants to block sugar from entering the cells and to remain in the bloodstream in case you need it at that moment. So then you're going to cause imbalances in the blood sugar level, and balance in the blood sugar level will cause certain neurotransmitters to change. And so this is kind of why Cortisol is needed during acute times when you really need the energy. But if you have chronic cortisol, like I speak a lot about chronic stress, you could be experiencing a lot of fluctuations in your blood sugar, in your mood, in your eating, in your kind of like cravings because you're stressed. And a lot of ladies above had mentioned that they know that cortisol or stress is a big part of why they have cravings. And so this is something where you want to learn how to balance this better. Okay. And learning to balance this better has a lot to do with proper nutrition and proper mindset regulation. Okay. So how many of you, before I dive into the next topic, believe you might have some hormone imbalance? So if you believe you have some hormone imbalance in your body, put hormone imbalance. I actually have got a message from a gal on Instagram, and she says she wants to be part of our next free challenge. And I asked her a couple questions. She's like, I don't know, I just keep putting on belly fat. I think there's hormone imbalance, right? And so it's like when your body no longer responds like it used to, you start wondering like, what's going on? Why is my body responding the way it is? How many of you may potentially struggle with hormone imbalance? Marilyn, yeah, hormone imbalance. We're working on it though, Marilyn. I can see your food, and I know I just even, like your assessment, everything, you're on a good track. Like once we get you on good track, you're on a good track. We just got to balance it a little bit better, and deal with inflammation as well with you Marilyn, with your food. Karen, hormone imbalance. And remember too, that for those of you who are coming in with hormone imbalance, is that when you go through menopause, you are experiencing hormone imbalance. Like, let's just be honest, right? But it's to figure out how to balance it the best you can as your body is changing in the hormone balances. So, but if you don't know how to deal with it, your food is off, your inflammation is high, you have poor sleep quality, you have, all the things I discussed above, you can imagine the chaos of hormones in your body affecting you, right? So, hi, Charlene, good to see you. It's been a long time. Awesome. So let's dive into the next thing, still on the physical, biological reasons why you have cravings. So this one is on nutrient deficiencies, okay? So yes, sometimes your body actually craves certain foods because it needs certain nutrients. This could be the reason why you're craving things, not always, but this could be. So for instance, if you're craving red meat, you could be deficient in iron. Right? If you're like, I just suddenly need this like big like chunk of red, like steak, sometimes I've heard my clients say that. It could be you may be deficient in iron or something related to iron. Chocolate, okay. If you crave chocolate, it could mean you have a deficiency in magnesium. Not always though, so don't make that your excuse. And how you can know, I'll be honest, is that you should all be taking likely a magnesium supplement. If not, magnesium is related to so many functions. And if you're an athlete, if you're working out, magnesium is needed. It's very commonly deficient in people. And so why I say it's not always is if you're already taking a magnesium supplement and you're having great magnesium in your system and you still want chocolate, that's not a magnesium deficiency. It's just because you want chocolate, and it's due to other factors of cravings. But it could mean deficiency in magnesium. Can HRT therapy contribute to craving levels? Yeah, it can. That's a great question, Sherry, because HRT is changing hormones in your body. So it can impact other hormones and neurotransmitters. Sherry, as I mentioned, that the hormones and neurotransmitters actually interact with each other. So certain hormones go up or go down. It can impact your neurotransmitters, and then you might then want certain cravings. So yes, it can. Not always, but it can. Janice says Snickers. Oh, you have a craving for Snicker bars, right? For the chocolate. So and you have to ask yourself, sometimes these kind of candy bars or chocolate bars is filled with a lot of fat and sugar. So is your body needing sugar, fat, or is it actually wanting chocolate because of the magnesium? So it's kind of tricky because some of these treat foods have a lot of other stuff in it. And if you have a magnesium deficiency, if you had even a piece of like dark chocolate, or, you'll feel satisfied. If that's not what you want, but you're wanting the really high sugar, fat chocolate, it may not be magnesium that you want. It's the sugar you want, which we'll talk more about in a bit. So it's like really recognizing where these cravings come from. If you were craving lots of nuts and seeds, I know Rosalinda for a while was eating tons and tons of nuts and seeds. Not that they're not good, they're healthy, but you know, too much is going to contribute to a lot of fat gain too, because it's super high density, right? Nuts and seeds. You could be craving omega-3s, right? So again, it's being aware, maybe some of my cravings is connected to what does my body actually need. Sandy says, haven't taken my magnesium in weeks, got to get back to it since I crave sugar. Yeah, definitely. Magnesium is more, more about like your muscles and relaxation of your muscles and all of that. But if you're craving, it depends what you're craving, Sandy. If you're craving chocolate, then it could be. But if it's just craving sugar itself, that's slightly different. It's not necessarily fully connected to magnesium. Depends what you're craving. So as well, if you crave carbs. So do we have anybody who craves lots of carbs here? I'm just curious. Anybody crave lots of carbs? If you crave lots of carbs, okay, you could potentially be deficient in tryptophan and serotonin. So tryptophan is an essential amino acid. So it's an essential amino acid that you cannot produce by yourself, and you have to usually get it through poultry, eggs, dairy, even though I'm not a big fan of dairy, nuts, and other types of foods, okay? So if you are someone who doesn't eat well, there's a lot of you who skip meals, don't eat very well, or you're on some sort of interesting diet of some sort where you're eliminating a lot of really good nutrition, you could be deficient in tryptophan. Then we'll say, hey, like, because tryptophan is the precursor to producing serotonin, and serotonin is the feel-good hormone. And therefore, if you're deficient, it's going to want carbs. It's going to say, I need carbs. So why I bring up a lot of these things is because I want you to know there could be real physical reasons why you have cravings. And this is why I always talk about you need to have good nutrition. You need to balance your nutrition, have good macro balances in your meals. Because for most of my clients who have gone long enough in my program, who have balanced your macros, you guys most of the time will say, yeah, not really. Like once in a while I might have a craving, but I don't really have cravings anymore. Right? There's a number of you who've said that you don't really have cravings that much anymore. Why? Because you've actually fulfilled the nutrition needs of your body. If you don't fulfill the nutrition needs of your body, then you are more likely to experience cravings and to potentially have nutrient deficiencies, right? So I see Marilyn says, yep. Pam says carbs at time. I love good hot loaf of bread sometimes, right? So, and it's like balancing the macros, right? So it's like, okay, why you want the bread? Bread is carbs. So let's fulfill the need of that carbs with other carbs, Pam. But if that doesn't fulfill it, is it a psychological thing now? So that's why it's complex, because there's a lot of different elements in it. But if you balance your macros, most of the time people's cravings are greatly subsided. Hi, Connie. Hi, Peggy. Good to see you. True, you hardly have any cravings anymore. Yes, Jennifer. Awesome. So in terms of nutrient deficiencies, a macro balancing is really important. So for those of you who are listening, if you don't feel like you have good macro balances in your meal, I want you to say macro balance, okay? Macro balance. Say macro balance below, because that is maybe a reason why you have more cravings. I'm not talking about the occasional cravings. I'm talking about intense cravings that you're not controlling. It's affecting your weight. It's affecting your progress. I'm talking about that. And if that is the case, you may have problems with your balance of your macros, okay? So put macro balance if that is something that you want to work more on, okay? Yes, I see your comment, Marilyn, and we're going to work on that too with you. I see Kim jumped in. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. And Sherry also has hardly any more cravings. Awesome. And Johanna jumped in as well. Awesome. Okay, so that is the first section, okay? I said cravings has 3 elements to it, either biological or physiological, so like physical. And then I said there's psychological and then there's social. Okay. We just dealt with the physical side. Okay. So some of your cravings might come from physical side. We're now going to dive into psychological factors. Okay. So psychological factors is complex as well, because has more to do with your emotional state and your emotional state affecting your cravings. Now, different emotional states will impact your cravings. Things like stress, boredom, sadness, or even happiness can trigger certain desires for food, right? Because when you want certain foods, it's either a way for you to cope with the emotions, like a coping mechanism, or it can be a way to enhance emotions. Like you're at a big event and there's all this food you're celebrating, maybe at a wedding. It's to enhance certain emotions. It's either coping or enhancing your emotions. Now, from a scientific perspective, right, it still comes back down to some physical elements, but it's like talking about more the way you're thinking. So psychologically, if you understand what I said above of neurotransmitters, the reason why you have these psychological effects to want it is because of, again, I'm going to talk about 3 neurotransmitters: serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins. So I want to connect serotonin, okay, with high carb foods. Okay. So high carb foods, why you may potentially want high carb foods when you're feeling sad and all of this, and mood regulation, you don't feel good, is because high carb foods connects to higher serotonin. Okay. And like high carb foods also helps with tryptophan, which I mentioned above. So take kind of notice what I'm about to say. So high carb foods relates to release of serotonin. So when you are not feeling happy or depressed and you want more carbs, dopamine relates to high fat foods. Okay. So high fat foods. So if you're actually wanting fatty foods and more saturated fats, this is related to dopamine. And if I don't know, you've had a really low, stressful day, your dopamine is really low, all of that type of stuff, you may want the high fat stuff. Okay. So again, it can connect together, but high carbs, serotonin, high fat, dopamine, and then endorphins connect with high sugar and high fat foods. So when your body is under a lot of stress psychologically, like you're really upset, you're stressed out, you're feeling like lonely, you're feeling just like different emotions, right? We're coming down to psychological. Endorphins and some of these things I talked about connect to your reward center. So your reward and pleasure center, which is related to these neurotransmitter, but there's like a reward circuit in your brain. Okay, so your reward circuit of your brain will ask for all this high fat, high sugar foods because it wants these neurotransmitters to be transmitted, to be going into your brain. And when that happens, it leads to more endorphins wanting to be released. So meaning you eat that chocolate and it gives you the reward and pleasure, because it's released that reward circulatory system, the circulatory pathway in your brain is actually going to what now? Ask for more. So it's going to now want it more, and it will want it more, and it will want it more. So you've actually started a cycle within your reward system. Okay. So in terms of psychologically, I think it's to understand when you're upset or sad or you're stressed, what your body is needing or what it's asking for connects to all these neurotransmitters. But the thing is, if you take that in, it may contribute to a cycle that starts to happen. So a lot of you may experience, I don't know if you have experienced this before, sugar addiction, or certain foods you just addicted and you want more and more of it, a certain cake, a certain ice cream, or certain things. And that will cause you to actually continually want more and more of it. So from that standpoint, it's a biological explanation for your psychological need. Does that make sense? It's a biological explanation for your psychological need. So Jennifer says, make you want more and more. Loneliness was impacting me due to new town, remote country living, and impacted my food choices. Reframed my situation, embracing my love of outdoors, and called Clarice for a courage to come back program. Exactly, Sherry. So you took action to deal with the feelings of loneliness, right? And you did different things. You reframed, you started exercising again, you started to get back on a program, which is all changing the neurotransmitter signals for you that your body is asking for. And it thinks it wants to get it through food, but it doesn't have to be through food, which we will talk more about in a bit. Okay. So yes, this is very real, but it's hard to divide it because really you're like, so you're talking about psychological cravings, but you're going back to physiological, biological explanations. And yes, it is, because at the end of the day, it's like the way you think releases certain endorphins or hormones and neurotransmitters in your brain. So it does come back to a biological explanation, but it is psychological. So it's not to confuse you, but it's the way you feel, the emotions and all of that, and understanding why your emotions make you choose certain types of food. And so being self-aware is really important. Okay. We're going to come back to this too. I have some solutions and strategies and things like that, that I will be talking a little bit about. Okay. So the next thing I said, there's so psychological, sorry, there's one more aspect of psychological. So in terms of psychological, there's another reason why you have cravings, which is called habitual patterns. So habitual patterns are the things that you train your brain in. So for example, whenever you're sad, you reach for chocolate. When you're sad, you reach for chocolate. So it creates an association between the two. So whenever you're sad, you just crave chocolate, but it isn't because you really need the chocolate. It is only a habitual pattern that you have developed. So ask yourself, everyone who's listening, I see Carrie jumped in, Diana jumped in, Danielle jumped in. Is there times when you feel a certain way and you always go towards something here? For some, it may be they're upset or stressed, they go for alcohol. And this is why some people start to have an alcohol dependency, because they're always going for alcohol. Or some people always go for ice cream. I need my tub of ice cream because I'm sad right now. So it becomes a habitual pattern. So this habitual pattern is not necessarily because your body needs it, right? It's not a nutrient deficiency. This is because you've developed an association pattern. Right. Hi, Denise. Yeah, Diane, I'm glad you're here. So this is important to recognize as well, because for those of you who are trying to break cravings, you might want to examine, okay, like, is the craving I'm having right now actually because I need it? Or is it there's something just triggered me that happened that made me have a habit to want to always go back to it? Again, this will relate to psychology as well, right? Because psychologically, you've created a pattern. And as much as you can create an association between two things, right? I'm stressed, so I'm going to reach for that alcohol or that chocolate cake. You can create disassociation, right? And this is why I'm sure Diana can speak more to it. She's a psychologist, but why you can repattern your brain. You can create new associations. And there's a great book called Switch on Your Brain, which I absolutely love. It's all about neural repatterning. And this is why I'm a strong believer in mindset development, because if you can pattern something to become a solid craving because you feel this way, well, absolutely, you can disassociate that and repattern a new pattern. And that's why some people who used to be smokers and things like that, they would start going for runs. And every time they had the urge, and eventually their patterns became, every time they have an urge, they go for a run, and it became a good association, and then they disassociate it from smoking, right? So does anyone here have habitual cravings? Does anyone kind of actually realize they have habitual cravings? I'm kind of curious if anyone feels like they have a habitual craving. You can put habitual craving or habit below if that is you, okay? So that is still parapsychological. Now we're going to go to the third thing, which is social reasons why you have cravings. Okay, social reasons why you have cravings. So in terms of social reasons for cravings, it relates to your environment more than internally, more to your environment. Clarice, what was the name of that book again? It's called Switch on Your Brain. It's a great book. I have so many books. I was sending pictures to my friend, and he was like, you have like bookcases of books. I'm like, yes, I do. I like reading. So switch on your brain. So, okay. So I don't have a TV, by the way. So no TV, just books and a whiteboard. That's what you need in your home. Not TV, but reading. Feed your brain, feed your brain, feed your brain, you know? Okay, so I see coffee. Oh, you have cravings for coffee? That's a really cool craving. I guess coffee is a craving because of the stimulant, right? Yes, you're right. I used to crave Starbucks a long time ago, but Starbucks has way too much sugar. Denise, mutual cravings. Diana said absolutely with awareness and changing patterns. Yes, exactly. And Carrie says habitual. Yeah, so you struggle with habit cravings. What is the Carrie? I'm curious for you. What is the habitual craving that you have? Like what habit, what feelings do you feel, and then what do you reach for? I'm curious what that would be for you. Okay, jumping back to the social environment. So talking about cravings where it's affected by outside, by the social environmental cues. Okay, so you may get cravings from seeing advertisements, smelling food, or being at certain events or cultural events. This is normal. Okay, I mean, sometimes you're not even that hungry. You walk into a place and then you're like, oh, I'm so hungry for this, right? Because you weren't hungry until you got triggered. It's called being triggered, right? You get triggered by seeing this advertisement or this. And so it's just to be aware, this is something that is like our brains receive signals and it processes signals. And it can remind you of childhood. You know, a certain thing you see reminds you of childhood eating these treats or something like that. Or Christmas time, like I always say like Christmas time, gingerbread and some of these like Christmas time treats, you might not have any cravings all year long, and it's only you're like having all these cravings during the season. How many of you have a lot of cravings during the season? I've talked to a few. You're like, oh my gosh, my cravings are going through the roof. This may be because it's triggered by you go to the store, there's all these aisles of treats. You turn on the TV and there's all these things, and it's caused by what's around us. And so it's just being aware of it, because again, it's like if you're aware, then you're more likely to make good decisions, right? If you're not aware and you just follow along and this person's like talking about this best gingerbread chocolate thing and you're like, oh, I want to try it. And then you try this and try that. And then your whole Christmas holiday is all these like fun things you can get out of hand. But if you're aware, you're just like, okay, that's cool, but like they're advertising, or like, okay, I'm just being triggered right now because I'm in this environment, so I'm gonna choose one small little fun snack and that's it. Like you're just more aware, so you make more mindful choices. Diana says yes, beer commercials. You don't watch TV? No, I don't watch TV, so I don't know any of the beer commercials. Diana. Seasonal cravings for sure. Yeah, Diana, they make you see people having fun, laughing, and smiling. Exactly. Diana, again, as a psychologist, knows there's all of this psychology they use in advertisement, right? So they give you this great chocolate advertisement and with the family together, laughing and smiling. So you want the same feeling. So you're like, I need that chocolate. So it is psychological a lot of times, right? So, but it's just recognizing it and understanding if you are going through more cravings right now, that is normal. But it's how do we deal with it, right? And for sure, like I'm going to go to parties, there's going to be some, I don't know, some fun foods, and so like just being more aware, like it's okay that you have a little bit more during this time. So as well, I talked about trigger. And so the thing is, it's not just seasonal, but the trigger around like, maybe like here's an example, like maybe when you're younger, your mom always made sponge cake, okay, and that always gave you this feeling of warmth and love, right? So sponge cake becomes this association to that feeling. And so whenever you see sponge cake, or when you're who knows, maybe you're missing your mom, maybe she passed away, you want the sponge cake because you want the same reenactment of feeling of love and comfort, right? And so it's like recognizing like a lot of these social environmental cues can trigger you and can trigger your old memories. That's why cravings are a little bit complex as well. Okay, so what is I guess I want to talk about, because I said one of the things I want to talk about is why do people's sugar addiction increases throughout the holidays? So I just gave you the reason is that there is a lot more food around you, a lot more treats around you, and there's a lot more like psychological workings that will trigger you to want things like this. Okay. So, and I want to talk about the impact of post-holiday cravings. So I want to talk about why this is important to recognize, like, okay, the holiday seasons are coming and it's okay to enjoy some fun foods, but why do a lot of people derail during this time? So if you kind of go back to above, I talked about sugar and fatty foods enhancing the brain's reward system. Okay. It causes neurotransmitters to go and the reward circuit starts to go. And once you have it, it wants more of it. So keep this in mind, because what ends up happening is that as the Christmas holiday comes, the season comes, you have more fun treats a little bit at the office when you're buying your groceries, you go to events, and more sugar and fun things start to enter your body. So this can create already a starting of a dependency that you don't realize, that you're like, oh, like it's just Christmas holiday, I'm just going to eat some fun things, but it actually starts creating the sugar addiction before you even know it. The I need that Christmas holiday drink, I need that, whatever, that continuous circuit. Okay. So and when you do this, not only does the reward system is continually firing more during this time, because you have more carbs in your system, okay? More carbs will create more insulin response. I mentioned this before. More uptake of glucose to your cells. So your blood sugar levels tend to go up and down more. So if your blood sugar level starts to fluctuate more during the season, you're going to have more cravings because you're imbalancing this entire system, okay? This is why it's to be aware, because your little treat here at the office, your little treat there, your social gathering, your weekend over here, your family gathering here, all of these things has now started the vicious cycle. And the vicious cycle is why so many people fall off during the season. And then they start to know why they can't get off of their favorite Christmas treats, or why they're gaining weight, right? Hi, Caroline, good to see you. It's been a long time. Yes, and happiness is associated with dopamine. Yes, I talked about this, Diana, initially about dopamine. And so your imbalance of sugar levels will cause you to want more carbs again, and more carbs, more of the neurotransmitters to be transmitted, and this leads to stronger and stronger cravings. Okay, so being aware of this is really crucial, because you have to make really good choices during the season, not deprive yourself, but make good choices. Because if you are not aware, this is why I hear people fall off for 2-3 months, and over the holidays they get 10 to 15 pounds. Or they go, Clarice, in January they come to me and they say, I can't get off of sugar addiction. It all started in November, December. And it's like, I can tell you why. This is why, right? This is why. There's a whole cycle that has just started. Now, the yeah, so in terms of more of this fun food being present, not only is there a cycle that is started in your circulatory system and in your reward center and in sort of the insulin response, but also like you also have less defense during this time, because you're around more of this triggers, you're around more social gatherings. So it's almost like, if you don't have some of these strategies I'm about to talk about, you are more likely to be sucked in to the holiday cravings situation and gaining your weight, right? And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the strategies around this. I cut back so much this year on pumpkin spice lattes. My belly as well as my wallet need the cut. Yes, absolutely. Those pumpkin spice lattes can be very, very expensive, right? So before I dive into some strategies here, how many of you have holiday cravings or have gained weight over the holiday? Put up your hand. Put up your hand and say, gain weight over holiday or have holiday cravings. Put up your hand. Now, I will tell you that I speak really strong about this because I went through, I feel like everybody does, unless you really know your nutrition well and you've been at it for a long time. Because I remember just like always being so worried when I was younger in my 20s, like I always mentioned, and as a dancer and all of this, like you're just trying to stay so lean, you're trying to like starve yourself. And then you're like, oh no, the holiday's coming. I feel like I can't have anything. And then like, but you see these like chocolate things in the aisle, and then you're like, I really want the chocolate. And you fluctuate in your mood and you're all this, and you feel like it's so hard. How come you can't stay fit through the holiday season? And, you know, like I said, as I discovered not only these strategies and understanding nutrition at a very, very high level, I realized like that is what brings me peace, is that I no longer fluctuate in that way. And that the mindset is proper now. So this is why I try to teach this to all of you, right? So Denise said holiday craving. You didn't, Janet? I'm not sure what you mean. Being selective on my choosing. Good, Diana. Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about 8 strategies to utilize throughout the holiday. Okay. So the first is you want to eat as healthy as you can throughout the holiday season. So you want to maintain your regular healthy eating routine as much as you can, because already you know there is too much distraction and too much triggers in your environment. So you want to eat as healthy as you can throughout the holiday season. So what does this mean? It means, number 2, it needs to be macro balanced, meaning you need to have very good choices of protein, carbs, and fat. And this is to ensure you do not go into nutrient deficiency, because if you have nutrient deficiency, you are going to get cravings. Like your body needs it. So we want to take out the physical factors as much as we want. And you can't necessarily always control some of the psychological factors and triggers, but you for sure can control your physical. Your physical side of what you take into your body is really crucial, right? So you want to balance your macros, make sure protein, carbs, and fat are really balanced. You want to, number 3, continue to meal prep. You want to make sure that you are prepping your food and leaving as little to outside chances as possible. Because when you can actually meal prep properly, like all my clients that I work with, and you're working on the prepping and food, and those of you in anti-bloat challenge, you know, like when you actually know what you're supposed to eat, you take away the guess factor, right? So you're more in control of the food. Number 4, you want to choose mindfully what you indulge in. So I'll say this again. Number 4 is really important. Choose mindfully what you indulge in. So notice I say you can indulge. Yes, please indulge. That your health coach just told you that you can indulge, because if you don't indulge a little bit, you will not be able to last through this. You need to have fun. You need to enjoy yourself. You need to go, I am going to have some chocolate cake. Yum. This is so much fun, you know, but you need to choose mindfully what you indulge in, meaning you need to make decisions like what you want and make good choices around that, of like, okay, I'm going to have a small piece of this. I'm going to enjoy a little bit of this, being mindful of it, so that the advertisement, the store shelves are not sucking you in mindlessly to these treats, but you made conscious decisions to have it. So yes, allow yourself to indulge, but do it mindfully, right? Number 4, so which is similar to what I said last week. Number 5, do not buy bulk amounts of treats. Do not buy bulk chocolate, candies, treats, things like that. It is the most tempting thing to do during the holiday. You're like, oh, this new Christmas treat or whatnot. Do not buy these massive things that sit in your house, and you then like will eventually eat it, right? You want to take away your distractions and your addictions as much as you can. So don't buy all these chocolate candies and store it in your house. And I would say is, if you get gifts with lots of chocolate, I think it was Vivian, one of my clients. She was awesome. She got a gift, a big box of chocolate, and then she gave it all away. She's like, I know I won't have the self-control. I'm like, yes, good job. As a teacher, I got so many boxes of chocolate you would not believe. And I was like telling parents, please do not give me chocolate. Like, I don't want any more chocolate. Like, you get a lot of chocolate as a school teacher, let me tell you. And it's like, it's just horrible. All this chocolate sitting with you. What are you going to do? You're probably going to eat it. So if you get anything bulk, any massive amounts of treats, give it away, give it to some of the kids, spread it out, give little, go to your neighbors and spread it out, spread the joy. You don't need the joy to go to your belly, right? We don't need the joy to go to our belly. I see, yes, Jenna said, thanks to you, I haven't gained weight. Awesome, Jenna. I'm really happy to hear. Meal prep is a lifesaver. Exactly. Hi, Barb. Hi, Tracy. Elizabeth says, I need to do better with macro balancing. Yes, Elizabeth. I think that's something that you can continue to work on because you were in the FFF, right? Jennifer says, I make my treats healthy. Good, Jennifer. So it's good. Make your treats healthy. But I will also say, Jennifer, a lot of people who are good at making treats is good, but they make too much of a good thing is not good still. So they can make a lot of like these cool nuts and bolts treats and things like that, and it still is too much, and they sit there at home, they still eat those treats and they still gain weight. So still being careful about bulk and doing a lot of the treats at once, because I find that really derails people, because like I said, from a biological standpoint, your brain, the more it receives the same reward center and the fluctuations of like the insulin, it's gonna solidify a really solid pathway of addiction to sugar and to carbs and to the fat, right? So we want to be careful about that, right? So I give most of them as gifts. Good, Jennifer. Number 6, make sure you don't say this, okay? So if this is you, make sure you don't say it. Don't say, I'll be good after the holidays. Please don't say that. If you say, I'll be good after the holidays, then you are saying to yourself, we're going to defer eating healthy until January 1st. And that is the worst thing you can do. Please just say, I will eat healthy all the time. Okay. All of you who are with me or you're watching on YouTube, say, I will eat healthy all the time. Because if you understand that healthy eating is a lifestyle, then you never fluctuate up and down. You're healthy all the time. But what does healthy eating mean? Healthy eating, to me, lifestyle-wise, is 80-20. 80-20, 80% clean, 20% fun. So if you have a good mindset on it, you can still have some fun. You can still eat your chocolate cake. You can still have your fun food, but you're 80% clean. And that your mindset is not seasonal. Yeah? If your mindset is seasonal on food, then you're going to fluctuate in your weight up and down. Your cravings will go in and out all the time. But if your eating is lifestyle, then we are now talking about true lifestyle maintenance, right? I don't say I'm eating any more healthy or less healthy during the holiday season. I just eat healthy. Does that make sense? You just eat healthy. I eat healthy, but I can enjoy some fun treats over the holidays. And sure, I'll snap another picture next time I'm eating some chocolate, because I have fun foods too. I do, but I just eat healthy most of the time. So for those of you who are watching this, I want you to tell me, do you believe you're a seasonal eater or you're a lifestyle eater? Now, for those of you who are lifestyle eaters, I think that is the key, but it's not easy. And that's why a lot of people kind of become seasonal eaters. So identify for yourself. Are you a seasonal eater or are you a lifestyle eater? And I know the goal is to become a lifestyle eater, right? But you have to identify for yourself, like, do you tend to gain weight over the holiday because you let the season take it? Or, oh, summer's here, so I should sit on the patio and drink more drinks. Are you a seasonal eater or a lifestyle eater? You shouldn't change whether you eat healthy or not based on what time of the year it is. Am I correct? Do you guys agree? If you do, put a hallelujah below, okay? Okay, so number 7, so you want to learn to eat healthy carbs and healthy fats. So this comes down to macro balance, okay? Macro balance. Sorry, I see lots of hearts. Good. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Yes, Marilyn says 80-20 works. Awesome. Lifestyle eater, do not gain any weight on vacation over the holidays. Excellent, Marilyn. That's really good to hear. That's what I want to hear. Lifestyle eating. So you want to learn healthy carbs and healthy fats, because at the end of the day, I mentioned to you above, why your body has cravings is often those cravings for carbs and sugars. And carbs is related to serotonin, fats is related to dopamine, and carbs and fat is related to endorphins. Okay. When we understand the scientific background of this, you understand your body needs carbs and fats. So do not go on this like fat-free craze. Do not be like, I can't eat carbs and trying to lose weight. That's not the way to go. You need to eat healthy, balanced macro meals, healthy protein, carbs, and fat. But when you can understand healthy carbs and healthy fat options, this gives you a lot more freedom, because then you understand what are the healthy carb choices you can make and healthy fat choices you can make to feed what your body needs, so that it doesn't become cravings and you feel satisfied, right? So here's an example. So for example, you want healthy carbs, okay? And you're like, oh, I don't know what's healthy. Everything is so snacky. I don't want to gain weight. Well, air popped popcorn is awesome. It's awesome. And you can put some, like healthy things on it that is like maybe just like a little bit like sea salt, maybe a little bit sea salt or something like that. Great. That's healthy for you, but now that's an idea for you. Another one, almonds. Almonds are great. They're great for fats, great and healthy. But most of the things that are out there encrusted in caramel, whatever, is not good for you. So, almonds are good. And maybe you want to sprinkle it with some cinnamon, cinnamon almonds, great. Cinnamon's great for your blood sugar. So this is what I mean by that. Your understanding of food is really crucial, because you can still have fun and eat amazingly delicious food, really good food, fun snacks, and still be extremely healthy. And this is where a lot of people don't understand when they talk to me, or maybe to you, those of you who are in my programs, is they're like, oh, but I can't eat healthy, means I give up all my fun foods. And I say, well, that's what you think, but that's just because you haven't learned what are good healthy foods, right? Like if you are educated, you'd be like, oh, there's so many cool things I can make that are fun foods, that are healthy carbs and healthy fats. So sorry, I see things coming in. Lifestyle eater, yay, Oshone. And Karen says, I used to be a seasonal eater, but probably for this entire year, I've been a lifestyle eater. Good. And Karen, you did the FFF program. So yeah, I know you've learned a lot, and you're in the 21-day program as well. Pam, I'm working on being a lifestyle eater, but I just don't eat enough. Yes, Pam. That's the one thing we're working on with you, is trying to eat more food, because you're otherwise in storage signal. So how many of you listening to the healthy carbs, healthy fat situation feel like you need to understand more about what are healthy fats and healthy carbs? So put below if you feel like you need to understand more about healthy fats and healthy carbs. You need to understand more of that food side of things. So put that there if you feel like you need to learn more of it, okay? Number 8. So in terms of dealing with these cravings, is to keep yourself moving and on a good structured routine for exercise, okay? So why do I say this? Is because if you keep yourself consistent working out and moving and having a good workout routine, do you know what exercise does? I think a lot of you do. You go, I know it's good for you. Okay, let's go into our scientific explanation, okay? When you exercise, serotonin is released, dopamine is released, endorphins are released. Isn't that the same 3 hormones that dictates a lot of your cravings? Light bulb moment right now for a lot of you. Really? Like, oh my gosh, it's exactly the same neurotransmitters. Yeah. So if you keep yourself exercising and moving, having a healthy routine, and you know what you're doing in your weightlifting and workout routines, you're going to decrease cravings. Because why? Your body got all of those neurotransmitters through exercise instead of food. Get it? It gets a lot of the satisfaction from your workout instead of all the fun snacky foods that you have. Have you ever noticed, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate, but you guys can confirm for me, okay? Have you ever noticed that if you miss working out and you start missing many workouts in a row, you start eating worse and worse and worse? And there's many reasons to it, but one of the reasons is you lose your serotonin, your dopamine, and your endorphins release, like it doesn't release as much. So your body's looking for it through other realms. So you start looking for it through food. Okay, so exercise consistently. This is going to help you so much. If you're not on a structured program, put structured program below, because you need to get on a structured program. And I said this last time, get on a structured program now. Do not say, I'm going to wait till January. And I know I've had conversations even just a couple of days ago. I know some of you are saying that to me. And hey, I respect whatever your decision is, but I'm teaching you mindset. If you say that to yourself, you are turning yourself into like it's like I will get healthy in January. I will eat healthy in January. I will exercise healthy in January. And you're putting off what you should do now to prevent yourself from gaining all the weight and eating poorly and getting all these cravings during holidays. You should be on a healthy program now and actually get on it now so that you can be proactive throughout the season, right? So yeah, definitely recommend FFF. Yes, Sandy, because Sandy's actually in the FFF and they're wrapping up, I think, in a couple weeks here, but like, I know she's learned so much, and your waistline, Sandy, is coming in so much, and as well as Natalie as well. Like, she has a big picture with her pulling the jeans out, and it's just crazy. Her body has changed so much in terms of the belly area. So it's just really cool to see. So another thing is, Tracy says, low on those hormones right now, got to get back to ASAP. Yeah, Tracy, get back to exercising. Another thing with exercising is it not only releases those 3 neurotransmitters, but it releases norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is related to alertness and arousal. So if you are tired and no energy, get to the gym, get working out. You are going to have more energy, okay? Because those other hormones of exercise is going to be there. And also when you exercise, you have something called BDNF, which is called brain-derived neurotrophic factors. BDNF is another hormone that supports your brain's growth and neuroplasticity. Okay. So if you exercise more, you're actually going to keep your brain more alert. You're going to have improved cognitive functioning and improved clarity of mind. This is why I'm going to say, not only do you need to know your nutrition, absolutely, nutrition is going to be the key. Get yourself moving and exercising. Okay. Do not skip over the holidays. Try to keep yourself moving and exercising because it's extremely important. Yes, Tracy. And Tracy did FFF as well. And now she's been in Muscle Accelerator for quite a while now. I think Tracy for over a year now in Muscle Accelerator. So really, really cool. So so in terms of those strategies, which one do you feel like you might need to work more on? Okay, I'm going to repeat it really quickly. You tell me, which one do you feel like, okay, throughout the holidays, I need to make sure I use these strategies to help myself? Do you need to continue to eat as healthy as you can? So not give up healthy eating. Continue to balance your macros. Continue to meal prep. Choose mindfully things you will indulge in. Do not buy bulk candies and treats. Don't say I'll be good after the holidays. Learn what are healthy carbs and healthy fat choices, and keep a good structured exercise routine. Which one do you guys feel like you might need to work more on? So put it below. So Tracy says, definitely need more of those brain hormones to tackle my challenging work project. Yes, Tracy. Remember, Tracy, one thing we always talk about is a bad workout or half a workout or a quarter of a workout is better than no workout, right? Pam, I believe we talked about that in the app as well. A quarter workout is better than no workout. Get yourself moving, because you need all these positive hormones, right? Jennifer says, Patty says, meal prep, good. Patty, good. Jennifer, choose mindfully things I will indulge in. Yes, exactly. Balance my macros and eat. I skip meals too much. Yes, Marilyn, eat more food too. You too, you and Pam, both of you, eat more food. I keep saying, I forget who told me this the other day. Oh, Angelina, are you on here? Angelina, she was like, Clarice, I know you're going to be so happy I'm about to tell you this. And I'm like, what? She's like, I'm hungry. I need more food. And I was like, yes, I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating when you tell me you need more food. This is excellent. So yeah, Janet, don't say wait till after the holidays. Exactly. Don't say that. Start now, right? Meal prep. Elizabeth, yes, and Pam, meal prep and macro balancing. Exactly. Yes. So thank you for all the participation. It really helps. And it helps others too when they come back to this live, not on YouTube, because YouTube, they can't see your comments, but here, if they come back to the community to watch this live, they can see all of your comments. So it's really helpful. Helps people to know they're not alone, right? That everybody struggles. Everybody has their things to work on. So, okay. So last thing we're going to wrap up here is, what is the healthy psychology behind cravings? Okay. So what is the healthy psychology we need behind cravings? So the first thing is to acknowledge that occasional cravings are normal. Okay. Yes, it is okay to have some cravings. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean you're horrible. Everyone has occasional cravings, right? We just talked about above that hormone fluctuations, you had a bad day, something traumatic happened and your neurotransmitters are off. It's okay. We're human. You're going to have some occasional cravings, okay? But it's to understand, like where is your cravings coming from? And I'm kind of trying to understand, like, is it physical? Is it psychological? Is it social? Where is this cravings coming from? And like recognizing, like, is it something you can easily like just like have it and it's gone, or is this craving kind of persistently there? Because if it is a craving that's persistently there that you can't get rid of, and it's like really intense and all the time, and it's disrupting your life, it's disrupting your progress, then that's the craving that I would say you need to address. You need to get some guidance or help on. But the occasional craving is like, oh, that's cool, I have some cravings. And if you have the occasional craving, my best strategy for you is to maybe go with the craving, but before you go with the craving, ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, okay, like, do I really need this? So it goes back to that question of mindfulness, okay? Ask yourself, do I really need this? Why do I want this? Okay? Do I really need this chocolate cake? Why do I want this chocolate cake? Do I really need it? Right? Okay. So when you have asked yourself that question, if you can answer it and it is legitimately something that you really feel like you have ownership over, I tell all my clients to have ownership over the fun foods they eat, okay? And you really want to have it. So for example, you can be like, yes, I want this cake because it's my birthday. That's cool. Have it. I would say go and have it. I actually encourage you, go have the birthday cake, okay? And if you say, I really want this because I'm traveling and I've never tried this, I'd love to try this for the experience. Awesome. Have it. Eat it, like if it's something that you really can in your mind, you believe it's like it, you can have ownership over it and it makes sense as an occasional craving, I would say have it, honestly. Like, eat it and take it. Don't deprive yourself, as long as you have ownership over the decision, right? Because again, said this last time, it's not what you do occasionally that matters, it's what you do consistently that really will impact you. So instead of taking all the cravings or being like, oh, I shouldn't eat this, I can't have this, I like, instead of saying that, just go, okay, like, I have this craving right now, why do I want this? So for some of my clients who may have dairy cravings or things like that, like, why do you want it? Is it because you miss the taste of dairy? Is it because it reminds you of your childhood? Why? So if you can justify it and you really feel like you want to have it in that moment, have it, but just don't have it all the time. Right? That's what I mean. So have ownership over your cravings and be mindful of your cravings. Okay. And then the other realm is when you ask yourself the question, if it's not a good reason. Okay. If it's like, oh, why do I want it? Because it's in front of me, or it's just a habit, or I need energy, or I'm bored, right? Those aren't really good reasons. Okay. You know that, right? You're like, I want to have this chocolate cake because I'm bored. I don't know if that's not a great reason. So when you ask yourself these questions and it's not something that you really need, it's not a good reason, then you can replace that craving with better, more effective strategies. Because you're just bored or something. So maybe you will go for a run. Maybe you will go work out. Maybe you will call up your friends to go do something. Because at the end of the day, your body is just asking you for neurotransmitters. It's just asking you for neurotransmitters. So you go find other ways to fulfill the neurotransmitter, which is go for a run, work out, go with friends, have more of the positive emotions come in place that can replace the craving. And therefore, you don't need to turn to food. And now you can turn to other healthier options. Does that make sense? There, everyone that is listening. So I want you to understand the psychology behind it. And, Shonay's with me all the time. Like, I don't mind having some fun things. I'm still very cautious of ingredients. Like, she knows I always read ingredients because I know inflammatory markers. But if I really wanted something, I'm going to have it. And then that's it. Then you don't have the craving anymore. But if I know it's just because I'm tired, or it's a bad excuse to want something, then I try to replace it with something more positive. So how many of you guys here listening, in terms of the psychological turn of how to think about cravings, feel like you could do that? Like, when you have a craving next time, what will you do instead? So for all of you who are listening, if you know you have a bad tendency for some sort of craving that doesn't have a good reason to it, what will you use instead? So put it below, because it may help all of you listening. Next time you have ... craving, I will do this instead ... So put that below if that's you, but not if it's an occasional craving. Because if it's an occasional craving, or you just really want to enjoy a fun meal with your family, that is fine. I'm talking about cravings where you feel out of control. Okay, so put it below if that's any of you, like what you may replace it with in the future if you have this type of craving. Okay. I see Meredith jumped in, Nydia jumped in, Clenesia jumped in, Trina, Yvonne. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are popping in. Okay, so I am wrapping up here. So 4 areas that I want to make sure you keep in mind that is going to help you stay as healthy as you can through the holidays. Okay. And I want you to put below if you need guidance on any areas of these 4. The 4 areas that you need to make sure is really on par to make it through the holidays, and to make sure that you really control your cravings, is macro balance. Macro balance. So if you don't have macro balance in your meals, put macro balance below, because you need that to make sure things are functioning well, no cravings come about, all of that. Number 2, hormones are balanced. Okay, I talked about if your hormones are imbalanced, everything goes downhill. Let's be honest, right? You guys all agree? If your hormones are imbalanced, everything goes downhill. So do you guys need more guidance or help with hormones? Because hormones will come from lifestyle factors, sleep, stress, inflammation response, and menopause. Are your hormones needing to be balanced? Okay, put hormone balance below if your hormones need to be balanced. Number 3, is your stress levels monitored? Because if your stress levels is too high, cortisol is present, that wreaks lots of havoc in your body. So stress, does your stress levels need to be monitored and be better minded to, right? And then number 4 is, do you have structured workout program? Structured workout programs, not the random, like I do whatever I want when I go to the gym, because that's not going to work. I said this so many times before. If you're the person that randomly goes to the gym and does your own thing and randomly jumps around, it's not going to work. But it's better than staying at home. I'll give you credit for that. It's true. Better than staying at home. At least you're moving, but you need a structured workout program. Okay, so these are the 4 areas. I'm seeing lots come in. So again, do you need help with macro balance? Do you need help with hormone balance? Do you need help with stress regulation? Or do you need help with structured program? Those 4 things, if you can get on par, you're going to be like unbeatable. Like, what you're doing. You're going to have peace around like having knowledge of how to go through holiday season and just have a lifestyle way of staying healthy, right? So I see lots come in. I see Sandy said, some cravings due to boredom, I'll exercise more. Yes, Sandy, excellent. Or go for a walk. Marilyn says, I crave salty things. I add salt and hot peppers to orange, apples, pears. Guessing this is a craving. Yes, it is, Marilyn. Maybe we should talk about that, because it means your electrolytes are off. So we should talk about that. Elizabeth says macro balance needs to work on that. Marilyn says hormone balance for Elizabeth. Stress for Jennifer. No structured workout program. Marilyn, we're working on that. That's going to be in your app by Monday. So you're going to have a workout program by then. Stress. I see lots of stress here. People are saying they need to monitor their stress more. And Elizabeth says, I need a structured workout program. And Kimberly says hormone balance and structured program. So yes, like all the ladies, thank you for being honest what you need to work on. And, we'll reach out to you to see how we can best help you in these areas. But those are the 4 things you do need to keep in mind. Like I said, we are looking for the last 7 fierce ladies to close out our year. We have 2 weeks left in this community in terms of before we go on the holidays. So we are looking for our final 7 fierce ladies who we can help through coaching. So if you want to be part of the last 7, put 7 below. And yes, Elizabeth, I do see you need help. We will reach out to you. So best of luck to all the anti-bloat challenge participants as you wrap up. And yeah, we will, I will see you next week live. I will not be in the city. I will be actually on a beach. So we'll see what my background really will be there. I'll be on a beach next week, and I'll, we'll have a fun topic for that. So awesome. Thank you everyone for joining me. Hopefully this will help you through the holidays to not gain weight, to control your cravings, but know that you can still enjoy some of your fun treats throughout the holiday season. All right. Sending you all lots of love, and we'll talk to you next time.